This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Hey guys, Jay here. Welcome to Models Memories Weekly, episode 214. Models Memories is a show about nothing and is filmed in front of a live studio audience. This is a show where we're talking about painting, modeling, and working experiences from the week. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Jay, you put out 3 YouTube videos a week. Oh. Could I possibly have more to say? Well, I do, and here goes. This week, Games Workshop showed off a ton of stuff coming for the Death Guard and the World Eaters, I guess. But first, have you ever needed to make your own online space made up of squares, but you don't know where to start? Well, today's sponsor, Squarespace, can help with that. Squarespace allows anyone to design the website of their dreams with the most powerful and easiest design tools in the industry, like Design Blueprint. Using AI technology empowers anyone to build a more personalized website tailored to their needs, crafting a bespoke digital identity. Choose from a professionally curated selection of styling options to build a unique online presence from the ground up. Squarespace makes sure it's easy to launch your website and get discovered fast with integrated optimized SEO tools, so you show up more often to more people and grow the way you want. With Squarespace, it's never been easier to set up a unique online storefront. Whether your services are physical, digital, or service-based, selling your wares has never been easier. Squarespace offers an unmatched ability to showcase your unique wares with images, videos, reviews, add-ons, all capped off with their seamless checkout tools, letting your customers use whatever system they prefer, whether Klarna, ACH Direct Deposit, Apple Pay, Afterpay, or ClearPay. Squarespace offers a free trial for you to dip your feet into and test the waters, and ready to dive in headfirst, you can go to squarespace.com/EonsOfBattle or follow the link in the description to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. To say my Death Guard army has languished would be a little bit of an understatement. I paint about 3 or 4 a year, although my Mortarion did win me a Golden Demon, one of the little pins. I got the copper one, or the bronze one. I think it's the best looking one, but it's technically the lowest down on the totem pole of Golden Demon awards, but still pretty cool. I do want to do my Death Guard, but I feel like I'm constantly being pulled in different directions, because originally I wanted like a very normal Death Guard force, but without any of the blight launchers or the snail tanks. I'm just not a big fan of the snail tanks and the indirect fire thing in general. I feel like it's lame to hit on 4-ups, and I feel like indirect fire in the game is just a boring thing to play against for you and your opponent. Just ignore the movement phase and like being able to see your opponent, and you just get to pick on the board where your shot lands and what happens. It's not interesting to me, and so I was gonna replace those with Armigers. But then the Grotsmas detachment came out, Flyborn Host, and that one was really, really spicy. It gave, I think, Scout 5 to every Death Guard infantry unit. So like Poxwalkers, Terminators, Plague Marines. And so then I was like, well, maybe I just go really, really hard into infantry. And now the Codex is coming out, and there's a lot of really spicy, juicy stuff that, if you can believe it, the Codex is gonna offer more ways to play Death Guard. Now, the biggest, most exciting thing coming for the Death Guard has got to be the limited edition Death Guard Codex. Don't buy it. Nobody buy the limited edition Chaos Codexes. They're crazy, crazy expensive. I guess you get art cards, or not art cards, you get like art 8.5 by 11s, but it's not worth it. Maybe don't even get the regular Codex. There's ways of getting the rules for Warhammer 40,000. The thing that's got me excited is 6 detachments. I would say the correct number is 8. Honestly, the correct number is like 10. Just give us detachment after detachment. It's just words. But they gave us 6, and I think 6 is an acceptable number of detachments. And we got a new battle force. The battle force is fine. You get a smattering of the different units available for Death Guard. It's hard to go wrong with a Death Guard battle force because we have so few Death Guard units that if they just put any combination of stuff in a box, it's gonna be fine, because pretty much everything for Death Guard is good. There's a couple of like random characters that are kind of like, if you can make them work in the right detachment and the right list, but for the most part, you want every Death Guard unit. The thing that I find really interesting is the new Combat Patrol. I've gone on record as saying that the old Death Guard Combat Patrol, the Typhus, the 30 Poxwalkers, that one is really, really good. It is an absolutely phenomenal Combat Patrol. The Poxwalkers, you can take a 20-man and a 10-man out of the 30 that come in the box. You can put the 20 with Typhus, and they benefit Typhus by being just a bunch of feel no pain wound saves for him. And then every time he kills something with his plague spells, you get to bring Poxwalkers back to life for how many guys he killed with his plague spells. it's like, it's a match made in heaven. It's great that those units synergize so nicely together. And then you just get 7 Plague Marines and the Biologus Putrefier, which also an excellent combination. You get free grenade strat, you get another good torrent weapon in the squad. It's a really, really nice box. Like it's got everything you'd want. I mean, it's got a lot of Poxwalkers. Not everyone wants a lot of Poxwalkers, but I feel like you can think about it like you're getting all the Poxwalkers that you'll ever want. Well, maybe not anymore, but 30 Poxwalkers is plenty for 90% of use cases. The new Combat Patrol is a bunch of Terminators, the Death Shroud Terminators, 3-man squad of those guys, 7 Plague Marines, the Scribe, the Tallyman. Tallyman is really good because he can get you more command points, and you get the Lord of Virulence, which is a really good unit. It's a Terminator character, and he's got 2 really good abilities. He grants squads that he's attached to reroll wound rolls, which is really, really powerful until you look at the things that he can attach to, which is just Death Shroud and the regular Terminators. But it's still really, really good because Death Shrouds, they've got Plague Super Soakers on their arms, and so each one of them has a torrent weapon, only strength 3, but that's 3d6 shots. And then I think his weapon is another d6 shots. And then, so you've already skipped the hit phase, and then you're re-rolling the wound. Like you can really hose down your enemy with kind of an absurd number of dice. And it gives them number one, it gives them a really, really good opportunity to overwatch. So if somebody was trying to just throw a squad of nothing guys at your Terminators to lock them down so that they can deal with them later, they can't, because 4d6 torrent shots re-rolling wounds, that's gonna do some pretty spicy damage. That's a really, really fun combination. And then you get a good old-fashioned Rhino. It's kind of fun that a Rhino comes in this box. It is a old kit, and it's kind of funny to see it in like a modern Games Workshop setting. It does make sense with the Death Guard, and like the Death Guard are old school. They're kind of sort of squatty Marines, and so they would still be kicking around with Rhinos. It's not the most exciting thing, but if you're a Death Guard player, you're probably gonna have at least one Rhino in your list to scoot your guys around. So I think the new Combat Patrol is good. Is it as good as the old one? Sure. I do. I think maybe today I'll buy the old Combat Patrol just so that I can get all those Poxwalkers. Like I have Plague Marines, but other than that, I don't have any of the things that come in that box. So I definitely want that box. And then this box would also be a really good addition to my collection because I have a lot of Terminators, but I don't have the Death Shroud Terminators. So I feel like the new box, plus an extra squad of Death Shroud, and then it'll get me Tallyman, Lord of Virulence. Like it's a good box. Now, in a perfect world, 40k would be like Age of Sigmar, where when a new Combat Patrol comes out, it doesn't replace the old Combat Patrol. They're both just available. I don't know why, but for Spearheads, you're allowed to do that. There can be 2 Spearhead boxes, or sometimes called a Vanguard box, and they both exist, so you can just be like, oh, I like the things that come in this box more, so I'll just buy it, but it's great to have the option of that other thing. Where 40k, I don't know if it's just they make so much more 40k that they can't afford to keep around all of these boxes, or if they're just trying to really push you into making the purchase. I mean, I just said that I'm gonna try to pull the trigger and purchase one of these boxes before it goes away, so who knows how the mind of James Workshop thinks. I've played my Death Guard a few times in Tabletop Simulator, but I've never played them on the tabletop. I do think I need to get the lead out or get the plague out and finally get my Death Guard like ready to go so I can be playing them in games of 40k, because they are really fun. Morty is a hilarious distraction Carnifex who now has the Deep Strike keyword. I didn't even realize he didn't have it before, but now he actually has it. I do want to play my Death Guard, but something that I never want to play ever again is World Eaters. I've played against World Eaters so many times, and the new World Eaters character that they showed off, he does in fact bring 8-bound back to life. Resurrecting 2-up save like toughness 5 bunch of wound guys is mean. Like it feels so good when you finally bring down 1 or 2 8-bound, and then one of those suckers coming back to life is just meh. I mean, Angron gets to come back to life. It's not guaranteed, but often Angron will come back to life over the course of a game. they get a new battle force, which is a bunch of 8-bound, the new guy, and 2 squads of 10 jackals. Like, they are fun looking. A bunch of big, burly, chainsword wielding guys. They're giving me a little bit of Black Templar vibes. There's something to them. And they actually get a combat patrol. They had a combat patrol for a hot minute, where I think it was Lord on Juggernaut with a bunch of Khorne Berserkers. I don't remember, did Lord on Juggernaut like manage to make it into the game still? I don't know, I'll have to ask Sean, but the new combat patrol is interesting because it comes with a Demon Prince. Demon Prince hasn't been good for a while, and there's nothing wrong with Demon Prince, it's just there's better options almost all of the time for his points. He's like a Distraction Carnifex, but he's from an age where Distraction Carnifexes could be a little weaker and wimpier than Distraction Carnifexes nowadays can be. Like, I just had Mortarion as Distraction Carnifex because he doesn't do a ton, but your opponent cannot ignore him. Your opponent can kind of ignore a Demon Prince. And in this box, you get the Master of Executions, which is an excellent character because he grants fights first. I don't like fights first. It's so hard to play into. And the Khorne Berserkers get a surge move, which can frighteningly efficiently get them into close combat. If you're a World Eaters player, or you just have an army with a surge move, you gotta warn your opponent about stuff like that, because it's just rude. When you're like, oh, I'm gonna shoot you with my pistols, just maybe do a wound or two, and then later on this turn, I'm gonna charge you, and then I'm gonna fight you, and my guy's gonna get to fight first because they charged you this turn. You shoot with your pistols, and then all of a sudden the Khorne Berserkers get to charge you, or they get to charge you essentially, move into combat, and then they get to fight first, wiping your squad. It feels bad. It's not great. But Masters of Execution is an excellent unit, so it does give a big thumbs up to this box. And then you get Berserkers and Jackals. Jackals are really cool. I do like that they're just regular piddly humans, but they're a little bit good in close combat. And the chaos just keeps coming with the combat patrol for the Emperor's Children. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 you get 10 Tormentors or Infractors. You can build them either way, or I guess you could build them 5 Tormentors, 5 Infractors. The Tormentors are really good because you can have 1 plasma gun and 1 melt-a-gun in every 5-man that have the precision keyword. So Kroot players or Genestealer Cult players cry because that basically means we don't get to have any characters in our army because they'll just instantly get disintegrated and our whole army runs off of characters. Really annoying. And the Infractors are just really good. They throw a ton of nice strength 4 attacks, and then you get 2 squads of Flawless Blades and the Lord, not Cacophonist, the Lord Fancy Boy. You get the Lord Fancy Boy, who's pretty darn good. And the Flawless, it's really nice to get 2 copies of the Flawless Blades because 6 is what you want attached to Lucius. So all in all 3 of the new combat patrols for the different Chaos factions are pretty darn good. I think the Death Guard one is probably on par with its previous iteration, and the other 2 boxes are essentially brand spanking new. Now, speaking of spanking, the new Death Guard attachments, I took a little peek at them, and I don't want to deep dive onto them until I can have the Codex and really look at them and like figure out every little thing that's going on. But one of them definitely caught my eye, and that is the Numberless Horde. This is a detachment built around the humble Poxwalker. Poxwalkers are fine, but this is a detachment where over the course of on turn 2, on turn 3, and on turn 4, you just get a free 10-man squad of Poxwalkers, which is hilarious. I don't even think that's good. Poxwalkers are 50 points for a squad of 10. 10 guys with, I think, a 7-up save and a 5-up Feel No Pain. There's something to the Feel No Pain because then odds are that you might accidentally not die to a shooting or a melee attack. But 150 free points of Poxwalkers is kind of hilarious. And my brain immediately goes to, I max on a Poxwalker, so I bring 3 squads of 30, or 3 squads of 20, which would only be 300 points. It'd be nothing in my list still. And then I get another 150 points of Poxwalkers over the course of the game. You're still not really flooding the board with Poxwalkers. That's not even 100. I really hope that it doesn't say it in this article, and I feel like it would probably say it in this article if it was true, but if Poxwalkers were given battle lines so that you could take 6 squads, I would totally take 6 20-man squads of Poxwalkers and then get another 10-man squad every turn. Just for the lulz. I own 250 zombies. I've got a box of them somewhere. So I wouldn't even need to necessarily put together more Poxwalkers. And it would just be funny. I think it would be really, really silly to do. There's a really good stratagem, Shambling Wall, where if you've got a Death Guard unit and you've got a squad of Poxwalkers within 3 inches of the Death Guard unit, if your Death Guard unit is shot at, you can just make the damage go on the Poxwalkers. And that is a pretty great ability. You'll do that every single turn, if not like once in your or like maybe once in your turn, especially if you're trying to save yourself from like Overwatch damage or grenades damage, and then do it again in your opponent's turn. Like that is a really, really good ability. And it immediately makes me think, I'll just bring tons of Terminators and Death Shroud Terminators and a blanket of Poxwalkers. I still don't think that would be at all good, because Poxwalkers are pretty fragile, and just having 3 extra 10-man squads is not that big a deal, but I would like it to be good. Games Workshop, give Poxwalkers battle line in this detachment. That would be pretty pog. Some really exciting stuff coming for the Death Guard. I need to work on my Death Guard. I've got War Dog Brigands, I've got Death Shroud Terminators, or I don't have Death Shroud Terminators, I have Blight Lord Terminators, 2 boxes. I think I have 1 squad half put together, and then I built the bases for another squad. My Death Guard, I need to work on them. I need to do some really disgusting, glorious, messy painting. But before I do that, I might do some very crisp and very, very clean painting. When I was at Adepticon, I dug through the used mini store and I found this little box of the old posthumans for Infinity. And I picked these up because I really like the posthumans in Infinity. And so I think this box is gonna pair really nicely with the current posthumans. And then I can have a lot of posthumans in my army. Posthumans in the world of Infinity. There is an AI that kind of runs society called Aleph. And Aleph selects certain humans for post-humanness. A little bit like how Space Marines are like a normal guy and then they're turned into a Space Marine. But this is not horrible and evil and bad, probably. A human who transcends into a post-human is just your human consciousness digitized. And then now that your consciousness is digitized, you can either exist digitally or you can kind of have as many bodies as you want. I think, what are they called? L hosts. And so you can either jump in between these different bodies or you can exist digitally and like you're able to do anything. And it reminds me a lot of the movie Chappie. I really liked the movie Chappie. It got savaged when it came out, but I remember leaving the theater being like, that was a really fun fairy tale set in modern day. That was a fun movie. And then no one else liked it. But that movie has to do with AI. And so I'm really excited for this box. And I've been searching for this on eBay. I have a couple of Infinity things that are like on my wish list that don't really exist anymore. And this is one that has been on my wish list, but I couldn't find it on eBay. Nobody was selling one. And then I managed to snag one in person. In the world of Infinity, which is just modern day, but in the future, it's much more of a hard science fiction than like Warhammer 40,000 or Age of Sigmar. Most people are pretty okay with Aleph. You probably would be because it's an AI that essentially runs the world well. And so like almost all of your basic needs are met through the AI. Now there is a faction called the Nomads who are crazy libertarians who they do not like Aleph. And, they believe in a little thing called freedom, but they're free to, work hard so that they can pay for their oxygen because they actually live on space stations out in space. And so they're free to do anything they want, but it's hard to get what they want, where, there's an AI that controls kind of all aspects of society, but it also means that, you have unlimited space on your Dropbox account and everything is just kind of nice. Speaking of nice, there are some brand spanking new things coming out for Infinity for pre-order this May. We got some new kits, a menagerie of new kits for different factions. The one that I'm really excited for is the Red Eye. Spitfire. Oh no, that's its keyword. Spitfire, chain rifle, Blitzen. What does the Blitzen keyword do? This is a really fun little, like, flyer. Now, flyer leaves a bad taste in my mouth because of how ridiculously bad flyers are in Warhammer 40,000 right now. But the Infinity handles them differently. But it's just a little Amazon delivery drone with machine guns, which is probably what the Amazon delivery drones will have. Then there is the Firebat Attack Wing. This is for the O12 faction. The O12 faction often slips my mind because it's a little bit of a newer faction in Infinity, I think, and they're the police. It's kind of Judge Dredd if Judge Dredd wasn't a really evil thing. But they don't necessarily have a standing army, they just have an army-sized police force. It's the leftover remnants of the United Nations who kind of keep the peace in the human sphere in Infinity. And they get the Firebat Attack Wing, which is an incredibly comfortable looking little ship. Like, doesn't that guy just look like he could just fall right asleep? He looks comfy. Also, it's called the Firebat, which makes me think of StarCraft and how I cannot use the Firebats. I don't get it. They're like, you can look and see what things are good against what things, and I swear that the Firebats aren't even good at killing like Zerg or like killing the little guys because they just die. It's like I didn't even build them. I like Marauders because they actually stick around. They have a little bit of survivability, but I'll have like 30 Firebats just sitting there in my blob army, and they're just gone in the blink of an eye. I don't get it. But yeah, the O12 Firebat is a lot of fun. I don't quite get how the controls work. He's just kind of he's got his two little joysticks, but like he's got wrist support, which is a really nice feature. After the Cop Speeder, we got the Shinin Butai Expansion Pack Delta. I'm definitely gonna have to get these guys because I'm slow growing my JSA Japanese Successionist Army faction. I've kind of just started every faction for Infinity. It's kind of a problem. But these guys, this squad would be called the Raccoons, the Tanuki. These guys are the Tanuki with the light machine gun and boarding shotgun and the assassin character leading the charge. These guys would pair really nicely with some of the stuff I've already got. And speaking of stuff I already got, I am halfway through putting together another 4 squad of Pano Fusiliers, which would bring me up to 8 miniatures. And then I would probably need to build like another 4. And then I'll be ready to rock and roll with Infinity, with one of my Infinity factions. This close. I'm this close to having some playable. I mean, I played with like a couple of models aside and little demo games, but like I'm almost there to play proper Infinity. Honestly, let's be honest, I'll probably be playing Infinity before I'm playing my Death Guard on the tabletop. But you know what else is gonna see the tabletop before my Death Guard army? That's right, the terrain from EonsOfBattle.com. EonsOfBattle.com is the place to find our merch, like the Nick and Jay dice, and it's the best way to support us doing what we do with a membership. Each month, members get a credit that they can spend on our new monthly terrain packs or any previous pack we have ever made. This April, we're going hard into skirmish fantasy warfare with 3 themes. The Mythical Forest, a set of fantastical trees held aloft by otherworldly levitating stones and waterfalls with the power of life. The Eternal Graveyard, a desolate shrine to the forces of death. Macabre headstones piled against the last remnants of a long-forgotten cemetery. And the Cannibal Camp, a ramshackle encampment where the marauders can divide up their spoils and cook up their victims. These sets are designed with storytelling in mind and are the right size and shape for games of Spearhead. You can match the theme to your army and make your beloved collection look good while dominating the battlefield. These sets are available on our website as STLs, and don't worry if you don't have a 3D printer, they are available physically printed for you. I have a ridiculous number of miniature irons in the fire. I'm working hard on my Kroot. I've actually been tinkering with my Necrons and Space Marines. Obviously, I've been going hard into Infinity, and I may or may not be like trying out 5 other miniature war games that have all kind of got me excited. So I need to get back to painting. Thanks for watching.